Hi, this is Suzanne Hamilton from RE Home Source. I'm the managing broker in Orland Park, Illinois.
Hello, everybody. My name is Audra Iori. I'm with Caliber Home Loans. I'm a mortgage consultant. My NMLS number is 255710.
With the holiday season coming on, Black Friday's only a couple weeks or a week away, we wanted to talk about how the holidays can affect you buying and selling homes, specifically buying homes, and what it can do with your credit and things that you should be aware of when you're going out and doing your holiday shopping, and how it can affect you buying a new home in 2018. So, Audra, the first thing we wanted to talk about was the holiday spending. Black Friday is coming up, holiday spending. People put money on their credit cards, and that can severely affect their ability to get a loan for a home in 2018.
That's very true. So one thing, when you're out doing your shopping, if you are going to be charging things, by all means, we all have a tendency to do that, or we have a need to do that. Keep in mind, if you do not want it to negatively impact your credit, good rule of thumb is always keep your balance to limit ratios on your credit cards under 50%. That will at least maintain your credit scores at where they're at right now. If you're looking to boost your credit scores, if that's something that we need to do so you can maybe get some better loan terms down the line, the rule of thumb is keep your balance to limits under 25%. So if you've got a limit of $500, keep that limit, $150, $100 or under, and then you'll see an increase in your credit scores.
Absolutely. And here's the problem. If you max out your credit cards, buying things online, buying things in the stores, that is going to take a severe hit on your credit. If your credit is in the 800s, high 700s, whatever. But if it's low and it's close to the borderline of loaning, you could take 20, 30 points hit for just doing that. Even though you intend to pay it down, you intend to pay it off, that alone could tank your ability to get a new home.
Or it could impact how much you're going to be able to afford, because just that 20 or 30 points alone in your credit score could mean an extra eighth or maybe even 1/4% on your interest rate. It all depends. So it does have more than one impact if you do overly charge on your credit cards and you're close to what those limits are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Audra, what are some other do's and don'ts regarding getting ready to buy a home, even right now or come the spring?
Sure. So the main thing is, what are you going to be using to put down for your down payment? What sort of assets do you have? Banks do not like to see cash on hand these days. They want to make sure that any money that you're bringing into the transaction is sourced and seasoned in a bank account for 60 days. So if you're getting gifts or anything like that, cash those checks, get them in the bank account, let them sit and season. So we want to make sure that when you're ready to buy, you've got the money in the bank. It's just going to cut down on your paperwork and headaches during the loan process if you're prepared on that end.
It's always a good idea to, when you've decided that you want to buy a home, typically a lot of people start with, I'm going to look on Zillow, I'm going to look on Trulia, I'm going to look on Realtor.com, I'm going to look online and see what's out there. Well, that's great, but finding the home is simply one part of the equation. You really need to not put the cart before the horse. You need to get with financial lender first and start getting your credit in order, start getting your finances in order, and see what you need to do. Some things as simple as, my friend owed me some money and he paid me back in cash and I put that in the bank. That can be a problem. It's as simple as that. You need to get your finances in order. Like she said, banks like to source things. They want to make sure that there's no fraud involved. They want to make sure that the down payment is coming from your own personal resources, not as a loan or from someone else, unless, of course, there's proper paperwork done for a gift and things like that. Remember, lenders are always looking to make sure they minimize their own risk because, let's face it, they own more of the house than you do. So they need to make sure that everything is right. What are some other do's and don'ts that people don't usually know and can prevent up front?
Changes in employment. So if you are thinking of changing your line of work or even staying in the same line of work and just changing jobs, what I recommend is if you can hold off until after the loan process, it's going to be a much smoother transaction for you. I'm not saying that if it's a necessity, if you do change jobs, that's fine, but typically lenders are going to want to see that you're on that job for at least 30 days. So it could put it could delay things depending on the timing of it. So if you have the luxury of waiting until after you close on your home to change employment, that would be my suggestion.
And it's really important then, again, that you meet with the lender or talk to him on the phone or her first, but also that you tell them everything. Be honest with your lender. Your lender can't help you if you're not honest. If you hold something back, if you hide something, even if you don't think it's a big deal, it may be. And something that may be preventable if they knew it to begin with. You do not want to be halfway through a transaction and then they say, oh, we found this on this or whatever, what's going on with this, and it can derail your transaction. What that is emotionally, you're not going to get the house you want. And physically, you have lost money because you've paid money for potentially an inspection, an appraisal. Maybe you gave notice on your rental that you were going to leave. It's important to be very honest with your lender so that they can help you. If you're not telling them everything, they can't help you as well as they can. Okay. A lot of times what I always tell people too is figure out what you want to do with if you're going to get a gift, like you said, get that ahead of time.
Right.
You need to pre-plan all these things. Typically, I would say more than 2 months in advance of when you start to look. Okay? You can get a home right away. It typically takes 30 to 45 days to close on a home. But in advance of that, it might take 30 days to find the right one. It might take 60 days. It might take 90 days. And then you have to think 60 days prior to that is when you want to get pre-approved. So you really need to start thinking about all this stuff 4, 5, even 6 months prior to you want to be in a new home to make sure that you have the ample timetable. Now, sure, it can go faster than that. Definitely. You could hit the ground running, see the first house, boom, this is it, let's go. Okay?
And
that's great. And that does happen.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that you're being prepared and you're outlining anything you need to know up front so you can make some maybe adjustments in your finances. Audra talked about not changing jobs. It's important once you get a pre-approval and once you're pre-approved, don't change anything.
Don't change
anything at all. Keep the status quo of how you were approved. So, don't get any new credit cards. No matter what they say at Target or wherever, how much percentage off they're going to give you, do not get new credit cards. Opening new credit can cause a problem. It's new trade lines. That sometimes can be a good thing, but not in this case, okay? If you're opening a new credit card, it's new credit, which means it'll change your score. Store credit cards are notorious for having low credit limits. This is something also to think about over the holiday season. Do not open new credit cards and then spend, the money and then you're already maxed out on those. That can very severely affect you.
And if you do open a card, because again, this happens too, or if your car breaks down and you needed to purchase a new vehicle during the loan process or after you're pre-approved, these things happen. Life happens. These are things that you have to deal with. Just let your lender know, so there's no surprises, and if we need to tweak or modify the pre-approval, we can do so. But we're doing it before you go under contract, and before you're going to be out any earnest money or monies for appraisal. So just keep an open line of communication, and you shouldn't run into any issues.
You can never ever go wrong by being prepared and knowing what you need to do up front. Now, Audra, you have these list of do's and don'ts on your website, don't you?
Yes, we do. Yes. So if you're interested in having, we can actually send these tips to you, or you can check out my website at financewithaudra.com. We post, both Suzanne and I post quite a bit on social media, just trying to give home buyers, home sellers tips throughout the year. So at any time, please reach out to either of us. We're here to help you.
If you want more information, certainly you can reach out to us via Facebook by responding to this post, Twitter by responding to this post, or you can subscribe on YouTube for more real estate tips. Thanks very much.
Thank you.